Hello, fellow human! Welcome back to another Jank Joker / Choosing Beggars. So the first story is posted by you / Superabo87. How dare you give me a MacBook for free, replacing the power cord and memory beforehand for free, and giving me a disclaimer that the laptop was old and would just be a stopgap while saving up for a new one. It should have lasted longer. It outlasted the estimated time by a year. Co-sign for me too. My sister-in-law was complaining only 2 weeks before school started that her daughter's college program recommended having a MacBook and she didn't have the $900 to buy a new one. I figured with her only child going through the freshman years, miscalculations happened, so I offered up my older one but still working MacBook as a stopgap while they saved the additional money to get a new one. They accepted. Then, they didn't think the computer was quite good as is, so I replaced the RAM and power cord and told them I wasn't sure how long it would last. It was doing okay, but just to be careful with it. Back things up as much as possible and get saving for new one ASAP. It lasted well into the second semesters of the second year when daughter decided it wasn't good enough anymore and then promptly went out and bought a $700 one from a site I told her was irreputable. Apple had a refurbished one for not much more right then. Totally a situation of asking my opinion and doing the exact opposite. Fast forward to this year, and that one up and died with failed motherboard. Called me up and tried to literally guilt me into saying I would fix it. I couldn't if I tried. I can change out the parts that are supposed to be interchangeable, but I have no clue on the rest. Then complained that the first one should have lasted longer. Excuse me? It lasted a year longer than I even thought it would. Then tried to guilt me into paying $500 to repair it. No! Which later morphed into $350 to get Apple to repair it. Looked like a defect, and if they bought it where I recommend, it would be still under warranty. Nope, and nope. Then she's still trying to guilt me into it over 3 months later. Then the icing on the cake was sister-in-law trying to get my husband to co-sign with her on her daughter's student loan this year. When said daughter claimed she didn't have a time for the job and this summer didn't have time to fill out scholarship applications, and they asked a week before school started, despite we have a strict no co-signing stance, no attempt made to contact financial aid and get a private loan, etc. Nope. Wow, these people seem to latch onto anyone who gives them any sort of help. Seems like you really made the right decision here. Like honestly, I would be super reluctant in the future to lend a hand for people like this. It's never enough. Next up is a story by MN Swish Can. Teenagers try to kick me out of my plane seat. Guess I'm hoping on the plane story trend. A few years back, 2 friends and I decided fairly last minute to San Diego over spring break. The plane had every few seats left and we ended up getting all the seated separately. Fast forward to the flight, we are boarding the plane, I get assigned to the seat. It's between 2 teen boys. I excuse myself and sit down between the 2 of them. They just sit there blatantly staring at me. My friend ends up in the row in front of me, seated in the middle between a husband and a wife. Husband gets up and trades seats with my friend, not a big deal. One of the teen boys, I will call him TB, decides to say something to me. TB: "You're in the wrong seat, you need to move." Me: "Sorry, this is the seat on my ticket." TB: "You're not supposed to be sitting there." I get my ticket out this point and show him. TB: "Dad?" Husband from the row in front of us stands up and turns around. TB: "She's in our seat and isn't moving." Dad: "We didn't buy the middle seats, why don't you trade the seats next to your brother?" TB: "But you said we'd get the row to ourselves, it's not fair." Dad: "Did you think we're going to buy an extra seat so you didn't have to sit next to anyone? Offer to switch or cut it out." TB is red at this point and grumbles at me that he'll trade seats with me. I swap seats with him and end up in the aisle. I could see him out of my peripheral for the entire 4-plane ride glaring at me and making faces. Well, at least the dad wasn't stubborn like him and actually dealt with the child. Coming up next is TV Antenna. You want money? Being invited to my party should be enough. So I'm a part of a small team of bartenders doing catering for private events, which really brings out the beggars in people. One of our products is an open full bar paid by the hour. This includes beers, wines, cocktails, and everything. We bring our own ingredients, tools, and bartenders. The Christmas New Year season is always crazy busy, and the following exchange that happened this weekend, this is translated into English, so it's not exactly how it went. CB, hey there, previous customer recommended you guys. I'm hosting a New Year's party and I'd like to open the full bar from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. Me, alright, I have some available bartenders. How many people are we talking? CB, we'll be 32, but some probably won't drink that much. Me, well, we can handle 32, no problem. 8 hours of open full bar for 32 and a bartender will be around 5,120 bucks. Let me know if there will be sober people so I can adjust the price. CB, 5,120 bucks? Are you crazy? Your website said 20 bucks an hour. It's only 8 hours, so it should be only like 160 bucks. Me, I'm sorry about the confusion. The price is per hour per person. CB, well, your website says 160, so do it for 160. Me, I'm sorry, but that's not what our website says. 160 bucks would not even cover the bartender's wage, let alone the supplies needed for 32 people. CB, come on man, I already promised that we'll be professional bartenders, and I don't have that kind of money. Me, again, I'm sorry, but the price is firm. There's no way I can supply for a party that is sized with 160 bucks worth of alcohol. CB, what if I buy the booze myself? Me, then we can definitely work something out. A single bartender for 8 hours will be 400 bucks, prep time include. I can send you a shopping list with approximate amount of beers, wines, spirits, and mixers. CB, what? How's that fair? I buy all the booze and you still want money? Me, well, yeah, we don't work for free. CB, but I'm already paying for the booze. What if I let the bartender drink for my booze and tip him well? Me, we don't work for free, and booze is not money, and neither is the promise of tips. We are professionals with a lot of experience, and this doesn't come cheap. CB, is money all we really care about? My party will be the craziest in the city, and you should be grateful to even be invited. Me, well-hired staff generally isn't considered to be invited, and I can assure you none of us would cry over missing over your party. We are bartenders, our life is a party. CB, screw you, you ungrateful a-hole. 160 bucks, take it or leave it. I'm not going to give people like you a single cent more than that. Me, well, keep your money and have a happy New Year's party. He then went out calling all kinds of things which I don't feel the need to translate for you guys. Thanks for reading my tale. Oh man, why do I have to pay for the bartender when I already pay for the booze? Best argument ever. Next up we have Irok May. Why not? I was pumping gas at the gas station by my neighborhood when a man approached me with a typical "I'm out of gas" story. I opened my wallet and saw I had a 10 bucks bill and $1 bill. He also saw this. I handed him $1 bill. This conversation followed. Me, here you go. Him, hey, give me the 10 bucks, not the $1. Me, what? I was pretty shocked. Him, give me that 10 bucks. Me, I needed that to pay for my gas. Him, I see you got 10 bucks right there. What I'm gonna do with $1? Give me the 10 bucks. Me, no. I was really nervous at this point, unsure how to respond and having a hard time being firm. Him, why not? I got irritated enough to snap at him at this point. Me, snapping back. I just gave you the money, you're welcome. I walked away and went inside to pay at this point, with him saying things I couldn't make out behind me. I wasn't looking forward to going back inside. While I was in the line inside the store, an older lady that had been hanging out in front of the gas station came inside and approached me. I was thinking, oh God help me, here we go again. What she told me pissed me off and also made me laugh my butt off by the way she said it. This is our exchange the best I can remember it. Her, hey, don't give that man nothing. You didn't give him anything, did you? Me, yeah, he didn't even say thank you. Her, damn girl, that man got more money than you do. I just saw someone give him 20 bucks. Me, what? I gave him $1 and he tried to get me to give him 10 bucks. Her, well, he now got $21 and your dumb butt only got 10 bucks. I started laughing and shaking my head at this point when she went back outside. Well, actually, you didn't have to give him 10 bucks after paying your gas. You should have asked that guy for some money. On to the next story, shared by u/resets myth. This cup of soup isn't big enough. Give me your bowl. First time poster, long time lurker. This literally just happened to me at Jason's Deli. The large woman ordered up a cup of soup after I had placed and paid for my bowl of soup. TLDR at the end. Me equals to a tall, admittedly fat guy. CB equals to a short, admittedly a fat woman that has no room to comment on anyone's size. JD equals to Jason's Deli Soup Slinger. Me waiting for my bowl chicken pot pie soup. CB standing too close for no reason whatsoever. JD places a cup of soup on a tray, cup of cheese broccoli soup. CB start reaching for her cup of soup, it's so small. JD places bowl of soup on a tray, bowl of chicken hot pie. Me reaches for the tray, gets one hand on it. CB places hand on the opposite of tray, stopping me from picking it up. Oh, your soup is much bigger and looks better. Can I have that? Me, blank stare. No? At this point, I think she's kidding, but my soup did look way better. CB, it's just that the bowl is so big and my cup is so small. This is my first meal of the day. I didn't know how small the cups were. Me, I'm sure you can get it upsized for like 50 cents. CB, no, the soup is already here and I don't want to wait in line. There's no line and she still has her hands on my tray. I give JD the "can you believe this crap" look. JD, ma'am, that is his bowl. If you want to upsize, you can pay the difference at the register. CB's jaw drop and she removed her hand from my tray to place both hands on her hips. CB, this conversation does not include you. Mind your own business. JD returned the same "can you believe this crap" look. CB turns to me, looks me up and down and spews out the following. CB, look, it's not going to hurt you to let me have your bowl. You obviously could stand a smaller size. This is my first meal all weekend. Me, what the hell is that supposed to be? CB, maybe you should stick to the salad bar. I had been in a relatively good mood and this woman just pissed me off all night. I'm usually shy and reserved when it comes to confrontation, but I just couldn't stand it. Me, you have got to be kidding me. Look at yourself. You have to wait as much as me, and you're at least a foot shorter. Did you think insulting me would suddenly make me say, you know what, you're right, please take my larger portion because you're clearly in the need? It was clear that this woman was used to getting her way and had never had anyone clap back on her. She starts slamming, trying to find words for a comeback. Me, and don't play the "I haven't eaten all weekend" pity card because there's nothing about your appearance that says you skip a meal. At this point, I take my tray, walk away from the furthest corner, found her counter. I couldn't bring myself to look back at her or even gouge her response. So unfortunately, this ends with a bit of CB blue balls as there's no real payoff. This is one of the few times in my life that I've stood up for myself, so I just sat and ate my soup. TLDR, a fat woman tries to fat shame me over a darn bowl of soup. Well, way to stand up for your soup. I wouldn't let anyone try to con me out of my bowl either. Next story is posted by u/TuneNot. Neighbor thought my dad was her unpaid handyman. Maybe this fits, maybe not. Years ago, my dad helped out a woman down the street with her home repairs. He felt that it was his duty since she lived alone and had no children in the era. Anything she needed, he would have helped her with. Painted her entire exterior of her house for free. She decides to move down the state to be closer to her daughter and puts up her house up for rent. She tells the married couple moving in to contact my dad with any problem because he was her handyman. One night around 1 a.m., the husband knocks on our door asking for my dad. His toilet is backed up. My dad was a little bit confused about why the neighbor came to him. My dad explained why he helped out the woman. The guy was embarrassed as heck. He said he didn't know anything about plumbing, so my dad, being the nice guy he was, said he would unclog the toilet. They go to the guy's rental house, my dad fixes the plumbing. The next morning, our former neighbor called really angry. She was mad that my dad told the renters that they would have to contact her for repairs. My dad tried to explain, but she was not having it. He handed me the phone to deal with her. I think because he didn't want to curse at a woman. I told her my dad would glad to work, but she would have to pay him for the going rate, and if she wasn't willing to pay, then do not bother calling my father again. She didn't call back. Just the nerve of that woman taking advantage of my dad's good nature. Freaking taking me off! I swear, it's been 30 years, still makes me frown. Well, your dad was way too nice. That woman was a complete terrible woman, and the tenant was a moron. You don't know how to use a plunger? The final story is posted by Mitch1259. No ma'am, you can't take another child's pants. So, I work at an after-school camps for kids aged 4 to 13, and it's at a Taekwondo studio. The kids we get are usually very active and can be very hard to watch after, especially since I go to work directly after school with very little downtime. This story happened last year. I just found out this sub and thought this story works well here. For a little background, we usually watch 20 to 30 kids, but there was one particular kid we had who was very good at losing his stuff. Usually it was small things, but in this instance, he had lost his pants after changing to his TKD class. He was still wearing his uniform pants the whole time, which is where the issue arose. Fast forward to this when his mom comes to pick him up. M equals to kid's mom, K equals to kid, me equals to me, and B to my boss. Mom is getting ready to leave and her sons hadn't changed his pants yet. She tells him to change and he says he lost them. I decide to check the locker room where he changed and see if I can find him. When I come back, I walk into her looking through the other kids' cubbies, opening their bags on the ground and then moving on to the next cubby. I walk up to her and this is how the conversation goes. Me. What are you doing, ma'am? Ma'am, my son's pants are gone and I intend to find them. Me. Ma'am, you can't go through the other camper's stuff. It's not yours or your son's. M. And why can't I go through the other kids' stuff? Me. I just explained to you that it's not your business to go through other people's bags, and I will get the kids whose bag you haven't searched to bring me their bags and show me what's inside. M. Okay, that works, I guess. I get the other 10 kids whose bag haven't thrown on the floor and have them open their bags to prove that no one had stolen anything. As I was halfway through, the mom noticed my bag unopened at the top of the cubbies. I look up for a second and she has my backpack and is getting ready to turn it upside down. I had a laptop, 3 binders full of work and a calculator in there, and I wasn't about to let her throw it all on the floor. I get up and take my bag from her, and this is when she gets real bad. She starts screaming that I stole her son's pants, how I was a pedophile, and how she was going to have a talk with my boss and gets me fired. She storms out, and 30 seconds later, she's back with my boss. B. Mitch1259, did you take the kid's name's pants? Me. No sir, here's my bag. My boss checks my bag and finds nothing. M. Well, if no one has my child's pants, then who does? K. Mom, I told you I lost my pants. M. Talking to me and my boss. If I can't find them before I leave, I will never come back. B. Well, that works for me. M stands there dumbfounded, then a group of kids who are coming back from changing walk in, one of which holding his pants who looks similar. Also not the same to her son's pants. M sees them and takes them from this 7-year-old hands, talking about she's never going to coming back and starts walking out the door. The boss runs out in front of her before she can get to the door. B. Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask for those back. M. No, if I can't find my son's pants, I'll just have someone else. Boss takes this child's pants straight from her hands and tells her to leave. She screams at him, but eventually gives up and leaves fuming. She never did come back. A week later, when we were cleaning, I found her son's pants had been thrown over a lower hanging pipe in the ceiling. We have an exposed ceiling. Well, I always feel bad for the kids in these stories. Hopefully the boy has other adults in his life who aren't sociopaths. Well, that's it for today, fellow humans. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.